So let's take a look at some improvements to SolidWorks simulation. Okay, so the first improvement I want to draw your attention to is the ability to access an external database for materials. So if we take a look here at this component, we can edit the material for this, and as you know, we can create our own custom materials or use the SolidWorks materials to get those properties for simulation data quite easily. What we've now seen is the introduction of a new external database. So now if we just click here, we can say OK, and what that's going to do is it's going to launch this external website for us called SolidWorks Materiality. So at the top we can specify the study that we're going to be doing. So here let's choose a non-linear plasticity, so we want the von Mises. We can say that we want a plastic material, and we can now use the search facility to allow the system to find all the materials with those type of properties within. So you'll see we get a reasonably comprehensive result towards the bottom here, and if we just take a look at one of these items, you can see all the physical properties within it. We can launch another window to view more accurately those properties. So here we'd need to specify a test temperature, and we can take a look through as well. So specifically for non-linear materials, we need a stress strain curve to show us what's going to happen to that material after the point of yield. So here you can see all that information, and we can choose to download that or update our model to that information as well. So a nice improvement that should make hunting for properties a lot easier. Another improvement we've seen is in the options page. So if we just open the options now, we can choose to load all the simulation studies when opening a model, which is the default behaviour, or alternatively to not. So if you are sort of in and out of simulation but you leave the add-in on, if you turn that option off, it's going to allow your models to load a lot faster. As soon as we select a plot type though, that is actually going to start loading that data through on demand, so we may see a little bit of a lag there. A really great improvement to the system is the introduction of automatic conversion of bolts to bolted connectors in simulation. So if I start a new study here, there's a new option towards the bottom here allowing us to convert Toolbox fasteners to bolt connectors. So here in this assembly you'll see I've got two of those, so it shouldn't take us too long to do that. So if we turn that on, what the system will do is, if we take a look in a little bit more detail, is it will add those as connectors into our simulation study. So just looking at it again in a bit more detail, we can see it fills in all the information for the edges, the size of the bolts used, the material, any strength data that's known, and also the preload value for the bolt in that class. So it saves us a huge amount of time recreating those connectors if we have been using the toolbox. Okay, so let's take a look at another improvement. We'll just activate this particular study here, and what we'll do is show you that we can now compare results across configurations within the same part file. So here if we just specify the option to select all studies, we can turn off the displacement and turn on the stress plots, and we can now compare across 4 windows within SolidWorks the results for each of those configurations. So it's really nice when you've been trying a couple of what-if scenarios to just very quickly take a look at the top heading number on each of those graphs and try and understand which one has the lowest stress. So in that example it'd be this bottom left one here for us. So quite some quite nice improvements there. So if we just switch over to another part here, we'll take a look at some more improvements. So we've always had the ability to do a 2D simplification study, as you can see here, and those type of 2D simplification studies will really run really fast. You know, the fact that we're doing a slice of the model gives us some real speed options there. So I'm just run this study just to highlight a couple of the changes. The first one is we can now change the plot scale directly from the chart window here. So we could say 50 if we wanted to display that option there. We can also reset that to the maximum automatic values or put it back down to the value that we wanted to choose in the first place. So that's a nice ability to do that there. One of the other things we can do is now right click on that and select the stress component we want to show, or alternatively the fringe options that we specify, and also we've got the ability to show the mesh from there as well. Now just whilst we're on this right click menu, historically we had three sort of things we could do with a chart. We could edit the definition, change the chart options, or look at the settings for that chart. And you'd really need to pick the right one to get the options that you wanted. Whereas now any of these that we go into now contain each of the other two options as tabs within here as well. So we can choose to pick different bits and pieces from there. So it just streamlines the whole sort of process. Okay, if we look at our other stress plot within the system, what we can now do is show contact pressure in 2D simplification studies as well. So another great option there for us. So if we take a look at our third and final part, just to cover some more improvements at simulation level, we'll just activate our completed study here just so we can take a look. And I'm just going to show this stress plot first and foremost. Now one of the nice things that we've got here is the ability to display symmetric results. So we can now come into our options page and turn on the option to display symmetric results in our stress plot. And you can see here now that we've got both sides of this item shown like so. The good thing here is that things like ISO clipping will work within here as well, so we can choose to drag these options and that will work across the symmetric plot. As Alex showed earlier as well, these symmetric plots will also be shown through in e-drawings as well. Now another nice option we've got is regarding contacts. So, you know, if we're looking at this item here, ideally we would have defined all the contacts between components. We now have the ability to visualize where those contacts are. So it may be that we've missed a few and we didn't realize until we were solving the study. We can now start a contact visualization plot on our item and it will show us where all those contacts are defined. So we can very easily have a look across our model and see if we've missed any out or not. We also have the ability to include the solver generated contacts. So that is where the solver is connecting different elements of the mesh across those contact regions. So if we take a look at those now, you'll see that they're a lot sort of more widespread than the contacts we think we're applying, and that is because of the resolution of the mesh. So you can very quickly get an understanding of whether you need to resolve the mesh to try and understand the connection between components in a little bit more accurate detail. Okay, so in summary, we've seen the auto bolt mapping from Toolbox, the enhanced results visualization, so we can change the results from the legend. We can also edit all results options directly from edit definition as well. We can now compare results across configurations. We've seen the introduction of a contact visualization plot, the ability to display symmetric results, and the 2D contact stress support as well in 2D simplification. Okay, so Alex is going to run us through my SolidWorks.